All right, hello, my name is James Edwards, and this is my presentation on the ULab. All right, so we want to start out with the evaluation goals. I chose three evaluation goals. The first goal is to find the user's frustration and dissatisfaction with the user graphical interface. Basically, see what the user does not like about it, which would help me in the development process. Second goal would be to find the clues for improving overall design. So basically, based off of the evaluation, I can determine what works well for the user, what does not work well for the user, and how we can improve upon that. The last one would be to understand the user's thought process when trying to complete tasks. This will aid in the development of a user-friendly interface. So, if I'm able to see what the user likes and does not like, or dive into their thought process, I guess, via cognitive walkthrough, I can better improve the graphical interface and make it more user friendly. I guess this kind of ties into with to the whole find clues for improving overall design. One second. All right, and this is a list of the tasks and the scenarios. So I'll go ahead and read that. You turn on your computer one day and it's running slower than normal. You have already ran the antivirus software to reboot your computer several times, but it is still running slow. You have called your one you have called it's supposed to be one of your friends who specializes in troubleshooting computers. By explaining the situation to him, he suggested that you disable some of the programs running in the background, which is done through the MS configuration tool. And the task that I chose basically to go to the configuration tool. Um, you know, that then after you go into the configuration tool, start up the program and disable the programs that are running in the background that you don't need after you do a little bit of research to see which ones are you would like to start up on their own, or the ones that you do not need to start up on their own. A lot of times when people download software or applications, they just click through and click the continue button. They don't know that in some cases you're enabled the software to start up as soon as the system loads, and it can severely slow down your computer. All right, some of the baseline metrics that I used were, the facial expression, which helps me to determine whether or not the user is confused, um, or happy, or any type of expression can give some sort of information as to what the user is thinking or going through. Timestamp, basically when the user finishes or completes a task or even gets stuck. How long did it take to find the system configuration? Because a lot of people who are not computer savvy may not know what MS config does, or have ever even heard of that term, even though they've used Windows operating system for the better part of their life. Um, what items did the user choose to disable? How many items did the user choose to disable? How long did it take for them to go through the entire process? All right, and this ties into how intuitive, I guess, how long it takes for the user to go through the entire process. Kind of dives into the intuitiveness of the application. If it's relatively simple and easy to understand, then in most cases it would be, they'll get through the entire process relatively quick. And this is baseline is based off of 5 users. All right, and this is my recommendation. I recommend that the developer places an MS config tool in the folder called troubleshooting. This way, if they'll know that this tool is used to troubleshoot, you know, possible issues with the speed of the uh, operating system. I also recommend that they place a folder to a desktop on the desktop so that people uh, can access it easily. That way, you don't have to go search for it or put in any type of MS config. You don't have to remember that. You'll just know that you're having issues with your computer, and you want to go to that msconfig tool, go to that trouble folder to find something that will help you solve your problem. I also recommend that hold on one second. I recommend that in the folder the developer puts tutorials explaining what tools are and how they're used. This way, the user is not puzzled and can get a quick understanding of how to do certain things. I recommend that the developer make a configuration window resizable so that the user can follow the command path without having to scroll the bar at the bottom to follow it. Basically, with the MS configuration tool, it's at a fixed size, so you can't expand the window to see more things. You have to kind of work within the boundaries of that size, which can be annoying if you have a lot of things you want to delete. I recommend that the developer copies the icon that is used to identify the program and place it in the configuration folder. This way, a person has a recognizable image. So if you download something, and sometimes when you're in MS config, you'll have a name of a program that you may not recognize, but if you have the icon there, you more readily remember the icon than that actual name, and that'll let you know instantly whether or not you want to delete or I'm sorry, disable that program or keep it enabled. I recommend that the developer make the command path a link so the user doesn't have to follow the command path. This way, the user doesn't even have to expand the window in order to find out more information about the application that he wants to disable. They can just click on that command path or link, and it takes them directly to the folder where um, the application was installed. All right. Instead of just clicking, instead they could just click on it and will find a location of the program and open the folder. I recommend that the developer creates an extra tab in the configuration window that displays when the program is installed and when the startup option is chosen. Okay, so all right, what I'm going to do, because I'm just going to go in. This is the MS config tool. So basically what I was saying in the recommendation is that I would recommend that instead of somebody having to type this in MS config, because it's obviously the configuration of the Microsoft uh, features, just put it in a troubleshooting folder and put that directly on the desktop. So that people don't have to necessarily remember MS config. They will go into the troubleshooting folder. So then once you click on this window, all right, once you click on this window, this is the startup tab where you have a lot of things that are running in the background. You see this says Logitech gaming software. This starts up every single time my computer starts up. This starts up. This Snagit, which is the recording software that I'm using to record this video, starts up every single time my computer starts up. And if you have a million things that start up that start up on the computer every single time your computer starts up, it can potentially slow your computer down. And me, being that I've been in here on several computers, I can kind of get a gauge of what certain things do. For example, the Brother, this is a computer application. This is used for a Brother computer. I don't even have this. This has not been installed, or I don't use this printer, and I haven't used it for several years. I use the Canon, so if I wanted to disable this application, I can disable it. But somebody who is not as technologically savvy will come in here and see Brother status and don't know what it is. Now they can either go to Google and punch in Brother or Brother monitor application and get some information, or they can follow the path. And you see this window does not expand. I'm unable to make this window bigger so that I can see the full command path. I would either have to hover over it, then go and plug it in or find it, or I would have to drag this over like this to try and see the full command path, and I still don't have the option to click on it. My recommendation is basically make this clickable so that the user doesn't have um, to expand this to see the full path and file. You just click on it and open up the folder. Um, and also make this bigger, this window pane bigger, so they can see more, just in case they wanted to know, where was that without having to click on it. I would also, in this interface, create an icon after you expand this window to a certain size. Create an icon that goes next to or that is placed next to the startup item, and this icon would show, like, for example, Microsoft Office. Let's just pretend that we don't know what that is. So I would just have I'll just put a word. I would just have this icon for Microsoft Word 10 in here next to this. And if you want to hover over it and it expands or anything like that, but just as long as they have that icon, so they can know, okay, this is Microsoft Word. I want this to start up. Oh, okay, this is BlueStacks. This is an emulator for um, an iPad or something like that. I definitely don't need that to start off. Okay, this is Bondguard support. I don't need them to support me because I'm not having any problems. This is my Canon printer, and so on. This is Demon Tools for mounting um, ISOs or whatever the case is. Or this is my alarm clock. I don't need my alarm clock to start up every single time my computer starts up. Why would I need that? And things of that nature. I think that this is essential to make this more user friendly. This is more like a geek thing. Not really, but somewhat. So that's basically my purpose of my evaluation and my recommendation. Hope you liked the video. Um, I'd like to thank you, and I want you to enjoy the rest of your morning or noon or night.